Hello, it's me, and I'm going to address a couple of viewer questions that I got. And by the way, once again, if you do have questions, make sure that you post pictures. That's more of a surefire way to know that I'm going to be able to address it with a video, just because it's so much easier to show. Anyway, Pedro Pinto had a question regarding the parity-free solve of a 4x4. Now, to do that, we do the, as you recall, the layer by layer of the first and the second layer. Then we did the 2x2 blocks and solved that like an AI puzzle. And what he did is he got it right up to about here, where, as you can see, he's got that last block, but with that last block, he's got a problem with the color coordination just the way that you see it there. And his question is how to get through that. Well, in order to show how to get through something like that, where you can line that up correctly, let's go ahead and get it in that position. So my challenge to you is not only how to solve that, but how to get it in that position. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that, put it in that position, see if you can follow what I'm doing, whether you can or can't. Go ahead and see if you can do it, and if so, post it. And if you can't figure it out, let me know, and maybe I'll do a viewer question on that one too. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and get it in that position and see if you can figure out what the heck I'm doing. And go. Turn it around, down, across, up, across, down, pow. Okay. What am I doing? Actually, angle this up just a little bit more. There we go. I did it slightly hard way. Okay. And there we go. Okay, so we actually have a scramble / solve, but anyway, we've got it in this position over here. So the question is, what do we do about this? Well, there's an easy way to do this, and there's an even easier way to do this. We could do this like we do with a 4x4 parity-free solve and not do it the AI way. But to be honest with you, it's perfectly easy to do this like an AI puzzle. Now, an AI puzzle is something where all of these are bandaged down, so you can't move any of these pieces over here. So if I were to do this like an AI puzzle, which would even be easier than if I just did the parity-free version, where I'm restricted with only moving these top 2x2 blocks, as opposed to any of the bottom, these would be bandaged together. What you do is you'd first recognize that we have basically two color coordinations here, red and blue. Notice red is on the outside, blue is on the inside. Red is on the outside, blue is on the inside. We also have 1x2 blocks here, here, and here, and also here as well. So what we want to do is we want to save that. If only I can get a red on the outside, blue on the inside to be over here, then I can get it to line up with this red on the outside and the blue on the inside here, and then flip it over and do what I got to do. So here's what I mean by that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to coordinate it to where this red and blue becomes a red and blue that can line up with this. So I'm going to use the blue on the other side here, line it up here. So I've got the red and blue, but I can also make it a red and blue over here. If I make it a red and blue over here, turn it this way, then it can line up with this red and blue over here as well. And when I do that, I'm still going to have 1 by 2 blocks over here. So in short, what you do is you simply move this over to here, and then take this and RIDIRD it until you get this facing this side over here. RIDIRD, RIDIRD. So now you see it over here. So now all I've got to do is swing it back around, and now all of these guys line up. And you see we have a 1 by 2 by 2 block over here. I've got this over here, and then I've got this in the right conformation here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, flip it back right side up, and just line this here with this center and this here with this center. So RIDIRD, RIDIRD. Keep doing that until it goes up. Once it does, this can come here and be completely in, and this can come here and be completely in. How do I move it in that configuration without destroying these? Well, all you've got to do in this situation is move it in, then move it once beyond, and then do a corner swap. By corner swapping, you can move them all into the right conformation. So once again, move it here, move it 1 across, and then when I flip it, this can move into here while everything else moves back in the rightful position. So 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R, turn the puzzle, 2R, UI, 2R, U, 2R, turns it back, and as promised, all of them are in. And then it's just a matter of doing a quick 2 by 2 solve. Done. Okay, so that's how you get out of that situation, which is fairly easy, but go ahead and challenge yourself. Can you get it into that scramble configuration that I showed? I actually took one more step than I probably needed to, but there you have it. If you're curious about how I did that or want to see it, let me know, and we'll move on to the next question. So the next question comes from a guy by the name of Dumber Bub. I can only assume that's how you pronounce his name. But in any case, he had a dilemma with the 2 by 3 by 4 unbandaged puzzle. And what he says is, I'm having a problem with the MF8 2 by 3 by 4 unbandaged. There seems to be a case that you didn't mention in your tutorial on how to solve this puzzle. So it's this step over here. Basically, as you can see, what you've got is you have everything in except these edge pieces here. You see it flipped over here and flipped over here, but you also see that these are also flipped as well. So how do you get out of these? Well, this is actually a pretty simple kind of a fix with this. All you have to do, and I'm not sure how you're solving it, but basically what you want to do is find the ones that match up here. So you see a red and yellow. Find the other red and yellow. Your color is of course different, and simply move it in. So once you've moved it in, you've got all these in these lined up. So what you're going to want to do is you want to now place the middles over here. So I'm going to do the algorithm, the URF algorithm, to go ahead and flip these in. When I do that, it's going to cause placement parity over here. Now I'm going to make use of the fact that when I flip these in, it's also going to flip these guys. Well, I don't want to flip this. I want this to stay exactly where it is. So I'm going to simply move this over here, and when I flip it, these two are going to flip as well. So I'm going to now flip these two. 2U, 2R, 2F, 2U, 2F, 2R, 2U, 2F. And bear in mind, this was the 2F over here. So I can now, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to now flip these two back as well. So I'm going to flip these two because now it took the misplacement from here to here. So now I'm going to do the same thing, but now my F is going to be here. 2U, 2R, 2F, 2U, 2F, 2R, 2U, 2F. You see that's in, these have been flipped just fine, and now you move this back, and the puzzle is solved. So remember, when you get into these situations, just make sure that these are in. Anytime you have a brick, you want to get these guys in and just do your 180-degree URF algorithms to get these guys in, and everything else should be okay. When you do an odd layer permutation of it, you're going to move these and you're going to move these, so kind of bear that in your calculation as well. Okay, the other question was here. This was a configuration that he had a question on, and again, bear in mind that my color scheme is different from yours. By the way, I compliment you for your scramble of this. You really did a good job with that, because you don't always get this. But anyway, you can see that on the one side you've got these two edges that are out, these are out, these are out as well. So it sort of gleans this all the way around. So this was just another combination of motions to get this in that position, combinations of URF that did that. But basically the solve is the same. So here's the red and yellow. Find the other red and yellow and just match it up. It's right over here, so just go curse splat. As long as you've matched these guys up, then you're good. Now you bring these in just with, you guessed it, the URF 180-degree odd versioned algorithm. So that's 2U, 2R, and then 2F, 2U, and 2F, 2R, 2U, 2F. And I do the same thing here to get this in, 2U, 2R, 2F, 2U, 2F, 2R, 2U, 2F. That's in, but you created the placement over here. But because this is a brick, you have a different parity on one side than you do with another. While this was odd layered, this is even layered. So this is a quick fix by just doing 2U. This is the even layer version of the URF algorithm. 2U, 2R, 2F, 2U, 2U, and 2F, 2R, 2U. So both of those are actually a variation of the same process of not matching the corners, rather not matching the edges, and then just coordinating this solve with what you found over here too. So that solves both of those situations. Keep those questions coming, and thanks for watching. Okay, so I'm going to address another question just to get off the beaten path a little bit, to do a different kind of a puzzle. This is one with a Curvy Copter Plus, and this comes from Parker Mowry, who says that he has two colors that are oriented, that are placed correctly. They just have to be oriented correctly. Now, to Parker's credit, he did eventually get this figured out. He said that he looked a little closer at the tutorial and figured out what he was supposed to do. But he did mention that I did go through it kind of quickly, so I may want to slow it down a little bit. And even though he figured it out by looking at the tutorial more closely, it's certainly worth mentioning it again. So as you can see, this is the configuration that he had. Now what's wrong with this picture? Well, what's wrong with this picture is that if these are in, this should also be rotated correctly. There's ways of getting this turned right. Regardless of how this is turned, if these are in the correct position, this also should be in the correct position. So this is actually a bona fide parity. Now normally what we would do if we had to get this in is I'll demonstrate it with the original Curvy Copter. So this might look like a very similar situation, but it's actually not. So you see that this is flipped upside down, which is different from these guys here. This is placed correctly and this is placed correctly. In order to place these guys correctly, because these aren't, you do a double jumble maneuver, what I call the double jumble maneuver, because you're doing jumbling moves. But basically what this will do is this will flip these to the right place, if not the right orientation. So that's done by moving this up here and this down, so the top up and the right up and the left side, and just move it all the way around. And then we do the opposite here. This top left and this side right, move down. This moves all the way around, move it in and across. So what we see here is we see kind of a similar situation. This is placed correctly but oriented wrong. This is placed correctly but oriented wrong, just like this. But the difference is that this is in. This is rotated correctly. That's the only way this puzzle is going to work. You're never going to get a situation like this on this puzzle. So this is a bona fide parity. Now we can go through how to fix this and how to orient this correctly, but it's only going to cause continued trouble with this. The way that we would orient this correctly, by the way, is we would well, we can't do a double jumble from this perspective. I have to do it from another perspective. So I'm going to manually take this, move this to here, and this, move this to here. The way that I do that is I start with the right side, back, left. So this is put over here. Then I take this, move this to here by moving through the back and moving this here. So I basically flip-flop these two. So I'm now going to do my double jumble to flip-flop them. Turn. Now this is all being done for the purposes of reorienting. Turn, turn, and always remember to do this part over here. And I'm going to get them back. Turn, turn, turn. This is in, and now this is turned here, and this is turned here. So what I in essence did is I flip-flopped them, so now these are not in the right place, but now when I do a double jumble maneuver to bring it back, now they're going to be oriented correctly, and so will this. So move this up, move this across, bang, zoom, splat, and it's done. Now in this situation, you're not going to really be able to get it that way. Let's say we try to solve it like that. What's going to happen? Well, so too, we can't, if we double jumble them, they're going to be opposite. So let's move them opposite first and then double jumble them. So I'm going to do the same technique, bring this here, bring this here. So this is here. I'm going to bring this one to the side over here. Just remember how I deconstructed it. And we'll go ahead and do our double jumble maneuver. Now for further details on that, I invite you to look at the tutorial for this. This comes over here. And move this in. Now I simply get this back, turn, 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 and turn. All right, now these are opposite. I simply swap them back. Notice this is now correct. So move this up, move this across. Now it doesn't sound like that the viewer's question had to do with this process of double jumbling. It had to do with this parity that he found, and bang. So now everything is in, and you see what the true nature of the parity. This is flipped, and it's the only one that's flipped. You can have two that are flipped. You can have all of them that are flipped, but you can't have just one. So how did this occur? Well, this occurred because of equivocation of these guys. You have to negotiate a swap between these. Swapping these will then properly place this. So you can swap this, turn this, but you got to swap something else, which is one of these. The way to do that is I'm going to take this, I'm going to orchestrate an exchange between this one and this one. The way to do that is take this front, move it down over here. Then what I'm going to do is take this, move this across here, put it in jumble position, and then I'm going to take this piece, so this inner area is going to move all the way around here and then stop over here. That way this piece, this center piece, is now occupying an edge position. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to take this and move that into the same position on this side, in this position here. So I'm going to turn this around like so, and then take this and move it all the way around here. Now that I've done that, I can negotiate an exchange between these two, because I put them in corner position, so I just go like kersplat. So now they've exchanged. Now all I've got to do is reconstruct it and get it back in the same position. So I'm going to move this like so. I'm going to move this back over to here. Once I've done that, I can now take this, move this into its proper place here, and I'll move it down. Now what I need to, now basically it's been fixed. So you can go ahead and solve this any way that you want, and you'll be able to get it back in. So what I'm going to do is, I'll just get these back in over here. So moving this here, this is fine. Actually, alternatively, I can try to, let's move this piece to here. And again, it doesn't really matter how you do it. I'm just putting it back in the easiest way that I know how. I'm going to move this purple to here and move this down. Okay, so now that we have that, you can just go ahead and continue your solve the way that you usually do. There's no great algorithm to sort of put that back in, but we'll just move these in the proper position, try to move this into the right place. You see this is still turned upside down, but that's going to be fixed. So which one is in, which one is not in? None of them are in, so I'm just going to do the algorithm to whip these around. That's going to be front, back, cross, turn, 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 and turn. Any that's in, this one is in, and this one is in. They're not rotated correctly, but that's okay. Now I just have to move these into the right position, so I have to exchange these two. I'm going to exchange these two across this one. So I'm going to take this, move it here and here, and do my double jumble to exchange it. Turn, turn, exchange, bring it back. Now I'm just going to bring this back here and bring this back here. So now you see that these two are in. These two are actually correct, but they're not rotated right. But that actually fixed the problem, because this is right. As long as these are in the right place, this should be rotated correctly. Now I can use that same strategy that I showed with this, and that strategy is going to be doing our double jumble, but to do it, that double jumble will mess these two up. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and put these in this direction here. Turn, turn. I'm just exchanging them manually like this. Now we do the double jumble. Turn, turn, bang. Now we just get it back. Turn and turn. Now with that said, this is upside down. These are not placed correctly. One double jumble should rotate this fine, and these will come back. And we'll do that here. Turn, turn, and splat, and move this in. Okay, so it's still wrong, but that's okay. If it's still wrong, we do the same thing again. We just do the same strategy until it finally gets in. So now we'll just double jumble this again, doing our manual exchange. Turn and turn. Bring it back. And now one more exchange should do it. Turn, turn, and alas, it's done. So there you have it. Now, the main point was not all that other stuff of solving it. I just did that because it's fun. I really enjoy solving it. The main thing was to recognize when parity occurs. It doesn't matter if this is oriented correct or not. This should be rotated in. If it's not rotated in, then another one should also not be rotated in. If it's the only one, you've got parity, and go ahead and flip-flop these guys over here. So that should be it for now. Thanks for watching.